Reverend Jenkins, I know you got something to say, because Reverend Jenkins has been through some of this before, so let's let Reverend Charlie speak on this. Let's give Reverend Jenkins a hand.
Hey family, thank you, Yusuf. I got an interview in Fayetteville, but really fast. All of the fathers, blueprints, big brothers, so many of the present. Love you, Reverend. Thank you, Yusuf. I would just say really fast to answer your question. As I've been around so many people in the room and been a part of um, I would say behind the scenes and in it. Yusuf, you asked about the goal, or you asked about the concept around um, boycotting and so on and so forth. I say a handful of things really fast. One is our unity is critical. We've all heard the story of the Rolling Stones. Um, Maybe they don't love each other individually, but if they get a date, they get on their separate planes, fly in, go to separate hotels in many instances, and all come together on stage around the common cause of entertaining people and collecting a substantial honorarium. And so I think our collective unity around coalescing around what that agenda is. My big brother Jesse Jr. said, like, what is or what are the goals? I agree with him. They can't be everything. They can't be everyone. I remember sitting in a meeting with Reverend Jackson when I want to say Walmart had decided that they were no longer going to work with Burrell, I believe it was, and P&G. And then separately, another meeting where Walmart was walking away from Jet and Ebony and all of that. And in the Burrell meeting, P&G had decided that they were going to take their dollars from the Black community and give them all to our Latino brothers and sisters, which was going to hurt Burrell substantially. And to Jesse Jr.'s point, I think that our community, we carry everyone. There was a candidate for mayor that Congressman Jonathan Jackson and Willie Wilson brought to me. And really fast, I had shared with this candidate that, there's concern from the business community that the resources are going to be pointed towards the LGBTQ community and not the African American community. And this person who ultimately became mayor said to me, I've heard that, my opponent has shared that, and that's not true. I'm Black first. We're going to commit to the African American community. And this is what she said. The LGBTQ community does not need my advocacy. At the foundation of it is is Caucasian men, wealthy Caucasian men. It is the Black community that needs my advocacy. And so I just accent that because so often we as the Black community, with our compassion and commitment to the scripture, we do. And as Jesse Jr. said, I'm with the red, yellow, black, and white, all oppressors in this sight. But our community is the most disinvested in, the most marginalized, the most redlined, and we keep ending up at the back of the line. So I think our unity around what those common goals are, and Yusuf, I'll just say to the protests and boycotts, I learned from y'all that agitation hopefully leads to conversation, which hopefully leads to negotiation, which hopefully leads to legislation that ultimately leads to change. And so I think at this moment, it could be difficult to measure, but I think that the agitation, the goal is a conversation. And I'll give this quick example and I'm done. Mike McBride, Live Free, did a little disinvestment project in the Bay Area with Bank A, I'll just say. We're pulling all our money out of your banks. We're going to a bank that supports DEI. That led to a phone call from another big bank saying, what do we need to do for y'all not to do this to us? So I think that as we talk about boycotting and protesting and so on and so forth, I think it's the agitation that can garner attention, but the consistency with unity and Jesse Jr. again. I went through the IRS thing when John Stroger won, and it was suggested that I influenced the election. I got a 26-page love letter from the U.S. Department of Treasury threatening me, my family, and fellowship, and threatening to take our 501c3. I didn't stop agitating. I just did it a little differently. And so I think as we consider the challenges we could face for speaking up or speaking out or having conversations, wherever we have them, whether it's out front or behind the scenes, figuring out how we can move, even though there will be some pain as a part of the process. But I think it's unity around the clarity of goals, the agitation, which hopefully will ultimately lead to the change that we're looking for.
Reverend Charles, wait, stay right there, stay right there. Charles, can you hear me? Charlie,
yes,
can you
sir.
hear me? Can you give us a little bit? You gave me a story once, and just give me 2 minutes of the version where you saw evangelicals of all stripes together in a special kind of way. Will you share that story with our team here?
Some of my dearest friends, white megachurch pastors, Pastor Meeks will remember there was a group. It was Bill Hybels, Erwin Lutzer, James McDonald, Meeks, and there was a point where in 2016, many of these guys were on this advisory board for Trump, and I called James McDonald and just kind of went down the line on, hey man, how can you stand with this, and this? And I challenged him respectfully. And he said to me, we don't agree on everything, but there are several key things we do agree with him on. And so we're all unified around the handful of things that we agree on. And we're standing with him, even though we don't agree on everything that he does and that he said. Many of the things, and you know, the abortion and the one or two other things, and we're standing with him based on a couple of things that we believe. And we're not all with each other, but they unified and around the handful of ideas. And, you know, in our community, you know, we're title heavy and we're rank heavy and they just kind of, you know, they made the agenda the priority, first name basis. We're friends because he's going to do these things that we want to see done. And ultimately, I challenged him. He ended up leaving the board at the White House as a result, I think, of my challenging. But I think the point that Yusef wanted me to accent was that these guys, you know, they laid their crowns down, for lack of better words, to say, let's, for the greater good, get our agenda across the finish line with a guy that we're not totally with, but we're with a lot of the things that we're gonna or want to see happen. So I think that's got to be our same sentiment and our same approach.
Thank you, Reverend Charlie.